Delegations pertaining to items on the agenda. First, we'll deal with any delegations related to the 2007 to 2011 financial plan, otherwise known as the budget. Any presentations from the public with regard to the budget? If so, please come to the microphone. Any delegations on that? Seeing none, we turn to the delegations relating to items on the agenda. Mr. Kaun Adams of 200 Canterbury regarding council indemnities. Welcome, sir. You have up to 10 minutes.
Good evening, Council and Mr. Mayor. I come this evening to talk about the question of raising your indemnities. Oh yes, I live on 200 Canterbury Crescent. In 1950, George Orwell, in a book entitled Shooting an Elephant, wrote that political language is designed to make lies sound truthful and murder respectable, and to give an appearance of solidity to pure wind. Well, times have not changed. In this council chamber over the past 2 years, many questions have been asked concerning the true costs of the NNC. Alas, the public still does not know. But what we do know is that council has burdened the Nanaimo taxpayer with massive debt to be paid down over a 25-year period. You were outmaneuvered on your so-called 3P partners, by your 3P partners, in pandering to these people, you have left the Nanaimo taxpayer holding the baby rather than the fort. Over and above the cost of the NNC, the city pays an enormous sum of taxpayers' money to cover debt servicing charges, to which will be added more millions to cover the cost of borrowing 2 separate $15 million loans, not to mention the now inflated costs of the NNC operation. And so it goes. In an editorial in the Nanaimo Bulletin, dated the 26th September last, it states, quote, "Consider that half of Nanaimo's population lives on an annual salary of less than $20,000. A recent homelessness census counted 300 people living in Nanaimo streets. That is not a very good record for this city. In another editorial in the Victorian Times Colonist on the 6th of August last year, it states, "Is it really necessary for a city manager to earn more than we pay the Chief of Canada's Defence Staff? The truth is the public sector pay scales are difficult to justify on any rational basis." So you see, we have enormous expenses in this city. Now today, this council is to consider giving itself yet another salary increase, notwithstanding the fact that 1/3 of whatever you earn is tax-free. This is your third raise, or will be your third raise, since the last municipal election. And you also receive additional remuneration for things like the regional district or whatever board you sit on. And of course, expense allowances. Now, given the massive property tax hike that you are proposing to inflict on taxpayers this year and into the future, there can be absolutely no justification whatsoever for voting yourselves another increase. Victoria Council recently appointed a special committee of taxpayers to review their City Hall salary increases. So why does this council not do the same? Now, given this council's performance during the past 2 years, it is my opinion that only one of you deserves any increase in stipend. The 2004 referendum was won only by a squeak, and it was illegal. And no attempt was made by council to listen to those who did not agree with the ill-conceived NNC scheme. Events of the past 2 years have proven that council has been dead wrong. An enormous amount of taxpayers' money has been squandered, and now somebody has decided you need another pay raise. I say forget it. In my opinion, you should be taking at least a 10% cut. Because recently, Mr. Manhas was quoted in the Bulletin as saying $50 million was not a lot of money, as if it was growing on trees. Last week, Mr. Holden was quoted in the Daily News saying an extra $800 would not affect him too much. I'll get a new pair of shoes. I wonder how a homeless person would think, what a homeless person would think of that rather unpleasant comment from a member of the NDP. Mr. Mervanger thinks that suggestions from the FPN are ludicrous. And he forgets that he said at the last all-candidates meeting that it was only going to cost $4 million to run the NNC or whatever. At the last council meeting I attended, Acting Mayor Mr. McNabb called a member of the public a liar. Now, these kinds of comments and attitudes of your council don't reflect very well on this city, in my opinion.